vote in favor. And we will come to item 3, which is Legistar 70824, commending Robert F. Phillips, City Engineer and Public Works Team Leader, on his retirement from the City of Madison after 33 years of dedicated service. And it's my honor to start reading this resolution. Whereas Rob has earned the respect of colleagues, city partners, residents, and elected officials during his career in public works since 1988, all within the City of Madison Engineering Division. And whereas Rob began employment with the City of Madison Engineering Division in 1988 as an entry-level engineer, specifically designing street reconstruction projects after graduating from the University of Wisconsin-Madison in 1987. And whereas, after going above and beyond with design to streets, leading public works projects, managing federally funded projects, and leading the city's bridge inspection and construction program, in 1992, Rob earned a promotion to principal engineer of the division's transportation design section. And whereas Rob then made tremendous impact as the principal engineer for the transportation design section, with overall management of the city's streets, bridges, and paths projects for 7 years, until being promoted to assistant city engineer in 1999. And whereas during Rob's time as assistant engineer, he assisted in overall management of the division, negotiated contracts for the city, directed staff in public works contracting, and acted as city engineer while the current city engineer temporarily led another city agency for 1 year. Rob then earned his promotion to permanent city engineer and public works team leader in 2010, a position Rob has held until this date of his retirement. And whereas Rob proudly served on the mayor's management team, served as the executive secretary of the Board of Public Works, Madison Metropolitan Planning Organization's Technical Coordinating Committee, the Employee Relations Committee, and served as the Public Works team leader in addition to his current role as city engineer for the City of Madison. And whereas Rob's approach to his work resonated with his colleagues as professional, creative, human, and thoughtful, all things that have contributed to incredible relationships that will continue for years to come for Rob personally, and will serve the City of Madison even after his retirement. And
whereas during his tenure, Rob has led or had significant involvement in numerous projects of great importance to the residents of the City of Madison, such as the construction of John Nolan Drive in conjunction with the construction of Monona Terrace, the reconstruction of East Washington Avenue, the construction of County Highway M, preservation of the Madison Municipal Building, and rebuilding of most of the major streets that serve downtown. And whereas Rob was always a team player who challenged, encouraged, and led his team with the most respect and dedication to a community he adores. Whereas Rob's leadership and dedication has inspired excellence and ingenuity from his staff and throughout the engineering division to propel the city forward for decades to come. And whereas Rob's outstanding career has earned him a happy, long, and active retirement. And whereas while we know Rob will miss serving the Madison community and tremendous relationships at the City of Madison, we also know that Rob will now enjoy spending his time with his wife, Lori, his 2 kids, Nicholas and Emily, extended family, and his many lifelong friends. Now there be resolved that the mayor and the city council do hereby commend Robert F. Phillips, city engineer and public works team leader, on his retirement from the City of Madison after 33 years of dedicated service. And be it further resolved that in recognition of his long and outstanding service to the City of Madison, and as a demonstration of the high regard and affection for him among his colleagues in city government and among the people he served, the new Wingra Cannonball Path Bridge over Wingra Creek, just east of Fish Hatchery Road, shall be named the Robert F. Phillips Jr. Bridge.
thank you, Alder. A big virtual round of applause for Rob. We'll take that as being moved by Alder Furman and seconded by President Abbas. And Rob is here with us, and we'll give you the honor/option of speaking last, Rob, because it appears there are a few Alders that would like to say a few things about you. So Alder Harrington McKinney.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I'm so pleased that I got popped in first. And Rob, you hold a special place for me in my heart. And as a new alder, the first thing I got hit with was the Jeffy Trail. And you walked me through that. Literally, I remember being surrounded by about 50 very angry constituents and didn't know as a new alder which way to go. And so I landed in your office and I spent a lot of time in your office. And you were so patient in and unfolding what was before me, what went before me, and then what exactly our next steps were. And so I appreciate you. I appreciate your patience, your teaching, and all that you represent and you stand for. And so, as a new alder, a first year alder, I would not have made it that first year had it not been for you. And so, congratulations on your retirement. You will be missed, but you are greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alder. Vice President Martin.
Yes, thank you so much, Madam Mayor. I also want to extend my thanks to our retiring director, Phillips. During August of 18, when we experienced really extreme flooding in the city, a lot downtown, but also in my aldermanic district, that was devastating to a lot of my constituents that lost so much in these floods. And I want to just, extend my appreciation for all of Rob's efforts during that time. He made sure that my constituents felt like that they were heard. He listened to the concerns, and he and his staff came up with solutions to help prevent a situation from like this happening again. And I know that again, I was a relatively new alder at the time, and that kind of immediate action in an emergency situation where we needed to get FEMA involved was really helpful, both to my constituents, but also to me, so that I could support them as well. And I really don't think that we would have gotten through that particular really incredibly hard situation without the leadership and the guidance of Rob Phillips. So thank you so much for everything that you've done for this city. Your work has been incredible, and I'm consider myself very lucky that I got to be one of the lucky few who has gotten to cross paths and work with you. Thank you so much, and please enjoy your retirement.
Thank you, Alder Martin.
Thank you, Alder. Alder Alburist.
All right. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Phillips, congratulations. I hope you have an awesome next chapter into retirement. But I did want to say a few words because, like literally one of the very first issues that I had was like this sort of quarrel between residents at the landfill and sorry, the neighbors that lived right off of a landfill, and like how things were sort of maintained and managed, and they just felt like things should be different. But city engineering had their perspective on like what is the safest way to keep those residents there safe. And I'll just say like the city engineering team like really just was super helpful and tactful in that. And I know that was a real big testament to your leadership and your approach. And I know that there's been several conversations that we've had over the years, and I just feel like you've always been, even if like you disagreed with something that I wanted to do or an approach, you were just very tactful and diplomatic about it. So I just appreciate the really like friendly and congenial approach that you had when dealing with me. And I know that you were a District 20 resident, so that was pretty awesome too. But again, in short, I just want to say, I just remember that like specific tough challenge up front, and your team being really, really helpful throughout that process. So just want to say thank you to that. I'm sure that there's many, many other alders that had experiences like that with not only you, but with your team as well. And so just want to acknowledge your service to the city, and really, truly hoping that you enjoy this next chapter in life.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alder. Alder Carter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Rob, I've spent many a day in your office trying to figure out what we were going to do with Capitol View neighborhood. I hope you have recovered. But I can say that again, my district was affected by the 2018 flood, as you well know. Um, some of the residents had 4 feet of water in their house. And just the work over the years that your staff has done trying to work with the Alliant Energy Center and stormwater runoff. We're still working with them, so we haven't given up. But the dedication that you never tired. You never tired of hearing our problems. You always gave us some hope, a glitter of hope and solutions. And I really appreciate that. I have to admit that the tagline from Alder McKinney's district, we all have a Jeffrey Trail. Good luck and enjoy your retirement.
Thank you, Alder Carter.
Thank you, Alder Foster.
Thank you, Mayor. And Rob, just really wanted to chime in briefly. We've had an opportunity to work together since before I was Alder, and most people know I push pretty hard on stuff, especially when it comes to street projects, and you've dealt with that really, really well. But more than just dealing with it, I just want to make sure and recognize and make sure everybody knows that you've really been a force for progressive change in street design, and that's not an easy thing to do when you're in charge of keeping everything rolling. That tends to be a weight to try and kind of do things business as usual. And I've really seen you step up in a lot of examples and really, really push the city and staff to try and embrace some of the change that we've really been working on in the transportation space. So just really want to acknowledge that, really appreciate that, and apologize for some of the grief that I've caused. Thank you much.
Thank you, Alder Foster.
Thank you, Alder Furman.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to also just quickly reiterate what my colleagues have said. It's been a pleasure working with you, Rob. I enjoyed our time on Board of Public Works very much. One of the things that I really appreciate is how direct you are and how creative you are. The city really has benefited greatly from that creativity, push towards progressive policies and green policies. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Alder Furman.
Thank you, Alder Abbas.
Thank you very much, Rob. It was a pleasure working with you. I'm excited to see your next chapter in your life. And also I will acknowledge I appreciate all of your advice and knowledge, especially when I manage council agenda. Sometimes it's hard to figure it out which agenda items going to go so long. So I appreciate your advice on those things. Also, I had a really great time working with many staff members from your department, and they're extremely professional and very knowledgeable. I had a really great time working with your department. So thanks all for your leadership and for running your department really efficiently and effectively. Thanks.
Thank you, Alder Abbas.
Thank you, Alder Miadzi.
Yeah, I wanted to start by congratulating you too, Rob. It was, being a new alder, it was amazing. Of all the issues I heard about in my district, one of them was a Troy Drive Bridge. And I just remember calling Rob up and trying to say, hey, we got to get this done, even going to the mayor's office, talking to the mayor, how do I get this done? And I remember you telling me, hey, settle down, Alder. We'll take care of this. We'll champion this. And ended up championing that and got that into the budget. And then I got $3.5 million for it. So I just really appreciate everything that you did in order to champion this for me. And I wish you a happy retirement. And thank you for your service.
Thank you, Alder.
Thank you, Alder Miadzi. Alder Evers.
Thank you, Mayor. Just real quick, if we were meeting in person, Rob, I'd reach back and give you a high five and say congratulations. But since I can, I'm just going to say it here. Congratulations. All the best. It was great working with you. And I hope to see you around town.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alder Benford.
Thank you, Mayor. So, Rob, when I first met you in 2003, as much as I loved Larry, I was kind of terrified of him. So you were like this great person to be able to connect with. And I'm sure you get this all the time, but back in 2003, I thought maybe you were in your early 20s. So when you told me recently that you've been with the city for 30 years, so off the line, I'm dying to know your secret. So congratulations, Rob. Have a great retirement.
I was afraid of him too, Alder.
Thank you, Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Mayor. Rob, it's going to be very difficult for me to say goodbye to you, especially with Lori right there next to you. This is a bit emotional for me. I don't know that I was ever scared of Larry D. Nelson, or team leader, as I called him once we created the Public Works team leader position. But I have to say, just speaking of Larry, as I begin my thoughts about your illustrious 3 decades plus serving the community the way you have, that I think because your predecessor was such a force to be reckoned with, and I say that obviously with the utmost respect and compliment toward Larry, there were some that probably doubted that you could fill Larry's huge shoes a dozen years ago, or maybe even when Larry went over to the water utility that one year and you ran the division then. But you have proven yourself, Rob, over and over and over, that you were not only capable of filling Larry's big shoes, but you have leave some huge shoes of your own for your successor. I can go down memory lane with you as well, as someone that's had the honor and privilege of working with you for all but 6 of your years in city government. That it really has been an amazement to watch what a masterful manager you are, a mentor you are for your people. I don't know that my colleagues realize how beloved you are by your staff. You truly are. I still remember working with you as a rookie alder, and you were principal engineer then on the John Nolan Drive reconstruction in conjunction with Monona Terrace. And that was just the beginning. If we were meeting in the council chambers, as was previously mentioned, not only would I give you a hug, but I would encourage everyone to, as we were leaving the CCB tonight, or simply look out the windows of room 201 and see your fingerprints, your beautiful fingerprints all over the streetscape outside the CCB. Of course, I remember working with you very closely in Archie Nicoletti on the MLK reconstruction so many years ago that we've now, of course, reconstructed MLK all over again under your leadership. Every single solitary block in the 4th Aldermanic District, whether it be, whichever redistricting you want to point to, has been reconstructed while you've been in the city engineering division. And, save for a couple of blocks that we've been waiting for Judge Doyle Square to be completed, I would say that every bit of city infrastructure downtown, and I'm sure citywide, has not ever been in the best condition, the best quality, either, anecdotally or statistically today, than certainly that first day you stepped foot in the city engineering division 33 years ago. You leave the city in such great shape in terms of our infrastructure. It's just remarkable. And the downtown is probably the best example of that. Perhaps we had the benefit of tax incremental financing, as you know, Rob, that powered much of that. But I can't tell you how much, and you know this, I've enjoyed working with you and with your staff. You have done such a beautiful job of mentoring your staff. The succession plan you leave as your legacy is truly, truly remarkable. You're probably one of the best. I know I'm going to get myself in trouble when I say this because I have had the benefit of working with so many absolutely fabulous city managers in my 27 years on the council. But if you're not, you're definitely one of the finest, if not one of the best problem solver I would say that I've ever worked with. It's just wonderful watching your mind work and try to solve problems that we come to you with. I've said this to others, and I'll say it again tonight. I often thought that rather than the mayor being your boss, you acted like the common council was your boss, Rob, because you treated all of us with such respect and worth, and you really wanted to do what the alders thought was best. I know within reason, of course, but you really had always treated, I think, all city council members, past and present, with not only the respect, but really wanting to do right by all of us. And it, perhaps is a bit ironic that on your last formal common council meeting, we do have some agenda items tonight where we couldn't get that problem solving done. And I find it quite ironic tonight that's the case. And I'm sure you wouldn't have it any other way, but wanting to be at this council meeting tonight with your very competent colleagues to see these plans and specifications and so forth, and designs for reconstructions that aren't the most popular today through the process. So I could go on and on. The innovation, the fact that you recognize climate change well before August 20th, 2018 hit us in the face and led to literal tragedy in our community. But you have just been so brilliant in so many ways. I've seen you work in public at the finance committee. Never had the pleasure of serving on the board. It always conflicted with the LRC meetings. I was there as an honorary member, Rob, and was there whenever I could be for projects downtown. But the fact that you recognized climate change well in advance of most everybody, the fact that we have such a powerful stormwater utility, probably the first in the state, if I remember correctly. As a finance committee member, I have to tell you how it has not gone without notice, how quietly, brilliantly you have submitted both operating and capital budgets and have grown the engineering division to astronomical proportions. I think we've seen this statistic sometimes during our budget process each year, but the engineering division has grown so substantially in terms of staffing. It is unbelievable. It's not even a close comparison, of course, to when you step foot in the division as a newly minted engineer, or when I stepped foot in the building as a newly minted alder. The fact that there's been so much growth at engineering, I just think of facilities management, for example, where it was just two architects over in the planning department for years in the basement of the MMB, and now they're sitting on top of each other because that section is so huge at facilities. Green power program, everything you've done in terms of innovation, in terms of stormwater, the list goes on and on and on and on. One award after another for the projects that you've been the leader of. Again, if we were in the CCB, just look out the window and see the MMB renovation, all of the street reconstructions that have taken place there, the fact that the downtown is quiet zones and undergrounded of utilities. I can't thank you enough for all that you've done and the leadership you've shown your staff that I love working with so much. Let me just close by saying that one reason why I really am going to miss you so much, of course, is the fact that I would overstay my welcome more often than not in your office. When I would be visiting Marcia Hacker, that I couldn't help myself to also chat with you, even though my real rationale for being in your office was to see my dear friend Marcia. The fact that Marcia retired at the same time the pandemic hit Madison has meant that, of course, I haven't seen much of you the last couple of years in person, Rob. And I want you to know I've missed that very much. I have found the most pleasure I've ever derived is from our conversations in your office, where you've always, without fail, invited me to sit at your conference table. Of course, never do I have an appointment, but I'm in there gabbing with Marcia, looking at her latest vacation photos or what have you. And just seeing the problem solver, Rob Phillips, at work while standing in your doorway or sitting at your conference table, and then you becoming so animated, especially when we're talking about perhaps some other elected officials of the day, or talking about Wisconsin Southern Railroad, and I'll stop there and not get us all into trouble. But the true Rob Phillips coming out in our private conversations, either on the phone, but more often than not at your office, because I couldn't be seen anywhere near your office with Marcia finding out and scolding me for not visiting her. So those visits I will always treasure for many, many, many years to come. I know I've gone on way too long and we have a ridiculously long agenda tonight. My apologies to all those that are waiting to testify, but you have to realize what a pleasure it's been working with this gentleman for the last 27 years. And I can't tell you, Rob, how grateful I am to you, how grateful I am for your public service to our community all these decades, and tell you how much I'm really going to miss you on a personal level, and wish you and Lori and your family all the best as you enjoy your well-deserved retirement and not have to worry about these long council nights or board meeting nights. You deserve it. Congratulations. Godspeed, my friend.
Thank you, Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Alder. Rob, I'll save the speeches and storytelling for your retirement party, but I do want to say publicly how much I personally appreciate your leadership. The one word that jumps to mind when I think of you is steadfast. And you have been incredibly steadfast for the city of Madison for decades. And I saw that as an alder, and I see it as a mayor. And I'm so incredibly grateful for the work you've done for us. I'm grateful for the support and advice that you've given me, and the lasting imprint that you've made on our city. Congratulations on a well-deserved retirement. And now the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, I'm just really moved by the comments from all of you. That just means so much to me, and I certainly have very much enjoyed working with the Common Council, and we've accomplished quite a bit together. Alder Foster, you have a lot of good ideas. I tell that to people even when I'm not in your presence. So I do want to acknowledge you, Mayor. I really appreciate your support and your leadership during the pandemic. You stood up for democracy, and I think it's worth mentioning that the time you picked to be mayor is the most difficult time in decades, if not longer. And you didn't run away, and you work extremely hard. So thank you, Mayor. Likewise to the Common Council. You care deeply about the city, and you care deeply about the planet. And these are things I care about as well. And it's just been such a pleasure to work with you, current alders, and so many past alders as well. Also former Mayor Soglin and former Mayor Cheslevich for their support as well. I'd like to acknowledge my management team, if I could. Chris Pedikowski, he's the Engineering Transportation Design Section Head. Such a hard worker and gets a lot of work done. He led big projects such as the reconstruction of University Avenue, County M, and so many more. So appreciative of the work he does. Christy Bachman, under Chris, she helps everyone from residents to staff alike. She figured out how to keep things running inside the engineering division during the pandemic. She does the tough jobs, and she doesn't complain. She is really awesome, kind as they get. Jim Wolf, a principal under Chris as well. His innovative work on difficult street construction projects is very much appreciated. Greg Fries, our deputy city engineer. He would never say this, but he is one of the leading stormwater experts in the state of Wisconsin. And he is depended on by more than just the city of Madison. He's dependent upon by others outside our boundary as well. Really smart guy. He wouldn't say that either. But I'll say that we're very lucky to have him. Janet Schmidt. Janet is really along with Greg, is the inspiration behind the watershed studies. She works so really hard, and her response since the 2018 floods has just been remarkable. And again, we're just so lucky to have these people. Mark Motor, principal in charge of sanitary sewer design, very knowledgeable, hardworking. If you don't know him, it's really only because everything works so well. John Farney, our city construction engineer, hard worker, always there when you need him, day or night. And believe me, I've needed him on many nights. Brian Cooper, city facilities. He has done everything the city has asked him to do, which is a tremendous amount. He worked on the Central Library, MMB, homeless shelters, renewable energy, and so much more. Again, just very lucky to have him. Hannah Molinsky, our PIO, in such a short time, she's just transformed how we communicate with the public. And we are so fortunate to have her. Steve Danner Rivers, he's our engineering financial manager. He's as solid as they get. I can't imagine what I would have done without him here with me while I had my time in charge of the engineering division. And then there's Kathy Cryan. She can do literally anything. Literally anything. I've never known anyone quite like her. Smart, innovative, fearless, committed to equity. She has a soft side that you're not going to often see, but she has a very soft side to her. She's the one that began the Green Power program to train underemployed individuals in the electrical field. But her advice to me over the years has been just so much appreciated. And also a special thanks to former city engineer Larry Nelson. He taught me so much. He was a tough act to follow, as Alder Verveer had said. Also our Public Works and Transportation team, who also taught me a lot. They are truly a group ready to take on new challenges in innovative ways. I'm telling you, I have such a good team assembled right now. I wasn't able to make this morning's morning management team meeting to say goodbye. I caught a cold somehow during this pandemic, but I want to say thank you to my fellow department heads. You're a tremendous bunch, such a talented group, and I'm just so thankful for the time we had together. Finally, I'd like to thank my wife, Lori, who's here with me tonight, my children, Emily and Nicholas. They have always been my most loyal supporters. We have a remarkable city. We push to do the right things, not the easy things. I'm so proud of this city and what we've been able to accomplish while I'm here, and I'm proud to call Madison my home. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you, Rob. A huge virtual round of applause.
I think my wife would like to say something as well.
Could I please,
Lori,
just express my gratitude toward you, Mayor, and to all of you who have worked on solutions alongside my husband. I'd like to do that. I've witnessed the time and effort that everything takes, and I'm grateful for that. And I can tell you that through my eyes, he cares. He has always cared deeply about everything that he does. So I'm very grateful, and I'm very honored to be sitting next to you, Rob Phillips. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations, Rob. I hope that all of the staff and alders listening in tonight will join us at Rob's retirement party, where we can tell even more stories and give even more congratulations that are well-deserved. But until then, Rob, please know that we're all wishing you the absolute best, and that we hope you have a very long, happy, and healthy retirement.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mayor. And I am going to defer to my staff tonight, so you probably won't be hearing from me. Thank you
Excellent.
all.
So it is moved and seconded. Is there any objection to recording an enthusiastic, unanimous vote in favor of the resolution? Seeing no objection, we will record that vote